I just wanted to check in with you about the literature review draft. I've had some questions, and obviously it's due. The draft is due Saturday, so if you haven't started on it, you really need to get busy. Um, so remember that the entire semester we have focused to some extent on the concept of resilience, and I told you that would be the focus of the semester. So um, that's what we're still doing. And so your whole term paper, half of it is a literature review, which means you're looking at sources, and the other half has to do with interviews, which we will talk more about at the end of this week. But anyway, let's focus on literature review for now. Um, a literature review is not like a list of summaries or something. It is dealing with your specific topic. So there's been some questions about how many sources and what sources you can use. I have simplified the explanation here. You are to have 6 sources. That's been the number all along. 2 of those sources have to come from our in-class readings. Now keep in mind, when we cite a source, we literally can be using one little sentence from that source, so you're not having to go into great depth and detail on any one source. You are synthesizing your sources and seeing what they have in common, how they contrast, or whatever. Okay, so 2 sources from the assigned readings. Then I want 2 sources to be brand new to you because this needs to be, independent to an extent. You need to focus on what you are interested in when it concerns resilience. What are some connecting concepts? Maybe you want to focus in on courage or vulnerability, or maybe you want to focus on failure and how you have to have failure to even have resilience. There are many things that attach. One girl in my online class, on my on ground class, she is going to look at nursing and how nurses have to be resilient. So she is choosing to kind of go, her own direction. She still has this basic paper where she is investigating resilience and in looking at the research she has found, and then she's connecting it to something that she's personally interested in. The last 2 sources can just be, it's a toss up. If you want to use something that we had in class, if you want to find new information, please do that. So that's the simplified version. I have given you this source here that shows you what you can and should use to just remind you that this is not new work necessarily. If you picked a good article for your article analysis and you picked a good article for your annotated bibliography and you're happy with those, then you really just have 2 more sources to find. So anyway, 2 sources should come from our in-class readings. These are the ones that I'm talking about when I say the required readings in class. One of your source, and then let's skip down here. 2 sources should be brand new to you. You can use your article that you did for article analysis too. You can use the article for the annotated bibliography, but you're not married to those. So really, this is the only set requirement. Here you have some options. You have personal options. So total of 6. But let me remind you that we have had many available to us. So resilience theme, we're excited. Let's look at this. Because this might help you, and also it shows you that your sightings for potentially 4 of your works is already done for you. So the first page, you need to work with 2 of these sources. That's a requirement. I'm looking for 2 of these sources, and then if you want to, 2 of your sources can come from these readings. Okay. They can. They don't have to, but they can. And then again, let me reiterate, 2 sources need to be brand new that do not appear on these pages at all. So read over the instructions carefully. I have specific literature review instructions, and then I remind you of the whole term paper and project. Remember, the literature review is half of the term paper. So you're going to be, when you get your literature review done, this is just a draft, so it's low risk. We've got to get words on paper. We've got to start somewhere. But you'll clean it up, and then you'll turn it in as your final on the term paper. Okay, so remember, I have given you a sample lit review to give you an idea of how this should be formatted and how you should approach it. So the sample lit review I've given you deals with the concept of growth mindset. So instead of growth mindset, you're doing resilience. They are connected and they're close. I didn't want it to be something entirely different. Um, Also, I wanted you to see how I have used two of our in class readings in this, but I've used others that I found. Okay, so, um, in your paper, I told you early on that we should be asking what is resilience. So go ahead and set up the little subheading like that. What is resilience? And answer it based on what you have found in research. And then how can resilience be developed? Answer that based on what you found in research. And at any point, you can add in connecting concepts that you have discovered. So you've got to take ownership of this. Read the directions carefully. Look over the samples. I've even given you an annotated version so that you can kind of see the thought process and how things are represented. So this is not a paper that's based on sources. It's a paper that's based on resilience, and you're using sources to support your points. Okay, so let's look at our timeline here where we are. It's week 11. Your literature review draft is due Saturday. And then you have the discussion on interviews. Well, it says you should have already interviewed your selected people. So we need to talk more about interviews. I'll make a separate video for that if you haven't already. I am in the process of getting my interviews completed for the samples. And so I'll get those back to you and show you how I am going to incorporate interviews into this whole project. All right, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later.